All right, so here
Good
we
morning.
are. Good morning. That was a bit croaky because Willem's another year older as we live stream. For look,
That's
I've
right.
got my dice ready. I've got my folder and my notes ready.
I can't believe that this took me 15 minutes. My computer's, I mean, it's just, anyway, I should have been ready and I was not. I should have thought of,
You've had a heavy week, and
yeah.
we'll just play through a scene and talk about whatever we talk about, even if it includes bullshit jobs again, which is frightening me. But
Oh, it's good, right?
oh, it's so good. It's frightening me, and at the same time, it's inspiring me to want to share it with loads of my pupils.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Nice.
So, are you gonna? I don't know if you need to share your screen. Maybe you do. But
I'm not sure it's really necessary. I mean, we can to get back into it. Where were we?
whoa! Why is it telling me live streaming isn't available at the moment? Oh dear! I got that message. It says we're live. Are you live? We live on your channel?
Let me see. It looks like it. Live, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. I hope we are because we're so slick and
Yes,
impressive with our
exactly.
production values that it's inspiring to everyone to know that anyone.
Well, whenever I mean, I'll get a new computer before the end of the year.
You will? Okay, cool.
I
Maybe
need
I will
to.
too. Maybe I will. Oh, yeah, like okay, cool. I hopefully I will. I've got the money saved. I just want a new one.
Okay, so at the end of the last time we played, I believe that you started chasing guys that
I
were
did,
leaving
and
that looked a
uh,
little bit dodgy, and then
they looked a little
you
bit dodgy. I was dirty. I was
you
like, I
spotted
chased
their.
them, and ended up at AM Hilliers.
That's right, and that's where we
Uh,
stopped, right? And it's kind
that
of
is
late, early morning.
that's where we stopped. And AM Hilliers is a publisher, right? Magazine publisher or a front
Yeah, it's like a
for
media house, and it's the front for
the mob, not
yeah
the system. The mob, who are trying to make moves on in LA.
on the LA system, trying to get in there. Yep.
And then the other thing that just looking over my notes, the other thing that's
Mm-hmm.
interesting is the people I've spoken to, they want to help. There are people who want to help because Helen was clearly a woman about town
Yeah, she was.
and obviously very attractive.
Yeah,
So there's something about her that means that even powerful guys like Whitey want to help. So I feel
so as a
like,
quick reminder for everybody, we're playing
yeah,
Cthulhu Confidential, the Fathomless Sleep that we stream very completely randomly among other conversations. So it's very difficult for anybody to actually follow, but we're not
it's
expecting or not making
it's
it easy for anybody
it's
aside from
a
ourselves.
yeah, but it's a brilliant non-linear exploration of like how YouTube works. It's fun
Sure.
and reality.
It's also a sure way for people to log on and off, but it's okay. We're happy.
We are happy. Well, I'm happy.
All right. So I mean, unless is there anything else you want to do this night? Oh, wait, you did meet with your police contact Ted Gargan at the end of the last time we played.
Was that I wasn't sure if that was the beginning or the end. He
Or
didn't
was it the beginning
really.
of the end?
I don't know, but he didn't
No,
really
it
tell me
was because
much.
it necessarily was after you shadowed the guys and found out about the magazine house,
Okay, all right.
the media
Because
house.
he didn't tell me much. He's been put onto the whole
No,
detail of
that's
his
because
two
your
honest,
sources
right?
and your contacts that can confirm or give you new information, but sometimes they might not know anything.
And he didn't really know anything that I didn't know. AM Hilliers, it's a front. Bud Barron from Chicago is trying to make a move, and that's it.
That's right.
So,
Pretty
uh,
much.
yeah. So the
I also react to the questions you asked me, or they
well,
react to
that's
the questions you ask.
yes, yeah, I get that, which makes complete sense. But um, yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do. I think I'm
So this could go well. It really depends where you're at and what you're thinking. So you need to think about what's happening, where you go next. It could accelerate pretty fast to the end,
oh, really?
or well, depending what you do, it really just like anything. It depends where you're at and what your thinking is at.
Well, my thinking is I want to go speak to Margaret again.
Okay. Oh yeah, you said that's what you wanted to do. That's right.
And like, just tell her like, this is what I'm finding out, and see how she reacts.
Okay.
I feel
So
like she's not telling me the whole story.
sure. So it's already like very late. So I guess you head home to sleep
Sort myself out.
Yes, that's right. You're all dirty from the explosion in the parking lot that is already a little bit grubby of the Allegria, the illegal casino ranch place
Yep.
at the edge of town. Cool. So we can skip to, unless there's anything else you want to do, we can skip to the morning and you head out to the Deacon's family home.
Yeah, we'll go to the Deacon's family home.
Right.
So I'm there at a sensible hour in the morning.
Exactly. Sensible hour of the morning. Let's say it's something like 9 a.m. or so. Beginning of 9:30, something like that. It's one of those neighborhoods that has quite sprawling manners, very nice, beautiful, old established homes. Let me look at a scene. Just because, of course, I'm not preparing myself for these things. Sorry.
I'm remembering some things.
Game Master should never say that, but it's so easy to say. Because, of course, like a lot of different jobs, Game Masters get a lot of imposter syndrome.
Really? I thought you were all like...
Not all of them. I'd say a lot of them.
But that goes back to our conversation about Stranger Things. One of the characters is of course a games master. Yeah,
I mean, but also the other joke, there's a joke in that, is because you are literally interpreting, you're make-believe, you're creating make-believe, so it is impostering anyway.
Yeah, and they do a good job.
But there are heavy conversations about what it is to be intimidated, to be game mastering, what is a good or a bad one, that are really heavy in the culture of role-playing games, and particularly when you start a little young, or not necessarily.
I think they honor that community and that exploration and that relationship between games master and players, and the players in Stranger Things.
Oh, okay, I think, maybe.
Yeah. So I've jumped a little bit to that. I think they honor that atmosphere and that community in that season more so than other seasons.
Okay.
Maybe the first season. But it'd be good to get your take on it eventually. But I've just thought something else that I want to ask Margaret Deacon when we get there.
There's the help that lets you into the house and calls her over.
Yep.
Whose name is Jarvis. Let's see.
You're kidding. Jarvis? Really? Oh my god.
It's a good help name, isn't it? It's classic.
Oh dear. Okay. It is.
We can call him Tom if you want.
No, Jarvis is fine.
Jarvis. And now I have a old school joke from when I was a teenager, bantering with a friend camping on a holiday with the dude I met, and we just had, I know we spent then I think a whole week. We certainly started with a whole evening laughing in fits about having invented this character Jarvis. We were sitting in the camping, and it was like a pretty dire, just kind of chavvy camping lot, and we imagined ourselves to be landlords who had this character Jarvis serving us
wine, beer.
Yes, Jarvis, please. Of course, and talking complete nonsense for hours on end and building this whole make-believe world that made no sense.
Sounds a bit like role-playing that you've been doing forever. I have a friend called. I actually have a friend called Jarvis.
Oh, really? Wow. Yes, that must be difficult to carry as a name, I think.
No.
All right. So Margaret walks in. Sorry.
Yeah, Margaret walks in.
I'm not breaking the immersion, not building it up at all.
That's okay. That's part
Mr. Raymond, how may I help you? What did you find out? How's your investigation progressing?
The investigation is progressing slowly, but I don't think you're telling me I don't think I'm getting the full picture here.
What do you mean?
Well, the You might have heard there was an explosion at the Allegria.
I had not heard that. No. When?
Last night.
Wait, are you talking about the gambling den?
I am talking about the gambling den.
Okay. I know. I did not know there was an explosion there last night.
Yeah, there was. And
Why did you think I would know that? I guess it'll be in the news. I haven't really had time to have a look just yet. She got her cigarette holder and affaring herself. Do you want a coffee or something?
I'll have a coffee. The
Or straight on to the brown stuff.
Of course. I had a chat with Whitey Alexander, who runs the Allegria.
Uh-huh.
And he's saying that a certain Roscoe Deacon is a regular there.
Yes, my father is a regular. It's true.
And he owes a lot of money.
So let me check one thing. Yes, my father does regularly. I mean, I didn't think it had anything to do with what happened to Helen, so I certainly did not mention my father's gambling debts. I'm trying to keep it in hold, and I'm trying to hold all this company by, a thread. And my father doesn't help by going and gambling in a way. He's supposed to be retired, but he can't help himself. I mean, he is retired. I'm taking care of the business, really. But
well, Whitey is also really interested in finding out what happened to Helen. So much so, he said he'd help me. Not only that, another guy I bumped into was also really interested in helping me find out about Helen. So people know about Helen, but there are lots of guys who are willing to help me. Mm-hmm. Did you know this? Did you know how much of a woman about town she was?
Well, yes, and I certainly have not. It's been known at times that, I mean, I don't think she is representing the family particularly well, and I don't approve of her behavior. She's young and wild, but that doesn't reflect particularly well on our business and our image within town, for sure. Now, that Whitey would be ready to help. I hear that they are an item. I don't really know the ins and outs of that particular question. I think that she, just as I told you, she's been, seeing several people as far as I know. And yeah, she's always been, I've kind of had to take on the role of the responsible one ever since our mother died, unfortunately. And
when did your mother die?
She also, people like her. I don't particularly like her wild ways, but of course, she's a fun night out, and there's a lot of people that like her. So I wouldn't be surprised if some people are trying to help. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some people are also know something they're not telling you.
When you say some people, who do you mean? Who comes to mind? I don't know.
Did you talk to that screenwriter character?
I did. He was one of the guys who said he'd be willing to do anything. Marshall Daly.
And you believe him?
I believe him, yeah. Why? Why wouldn't I? What do you know? You sound like you know something about him.
Somebody did kidnap her. Somebody did put her in this mess of like a complete, catatonic state.
Marshall Daly wouldn't say boo to a goose.
Okay. Well, you're the professional, Mr. Raymond. I pay you to find answers. So what else can I do for you today?
Are there any other guys that you know that Helen has been seeing, been around?
Not to my knowledge. Well, I mean,
or any other names that she's mentioned?
Helen stopped talking to me already years ago because she just didn't like the way that I disapproved of her lifestyle. I mean, I did mention, I guess, when other mother became ill, didn't I tell you this? She started talking a lot of nonsense about auras and secret masters pyramids, and she's got a whole like group of people that she meets on a regular basis. She kept talking about Argent Light. And otherwise, she was always drugging several men. So I guess there are others, but I don't know who they are. She wouldn't tell me. And
What was that called? Argent Light? That sounds
yeah,
like some
I don't know what it is.
weird
She kept telling me
cult.
something, perhaps. I'm not sure. Some occult something.
Okay. I don't remember you mentioning that to me, but that sounds really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yes, otherwise she was seeing several men, but it's entirely given she hung out quite a lot at the Allegria, they probably would know.
Who they would probably, are you
And
saying
my father has been running, as far as I understand, quite a top, but you're saying he has gambling debts?
yes?
I'm not aware of this.
Really?
Well, I know he's a gambler, but nobody came and asked for anything.
Maybe that's because they like having Helen around. Look, I know you're busy, and I know you've got a lot on, and you're trying to hold the company together. I'll get out of your hair. But thanks for telling me about Argent Light. I didn't know that.
Let me see something else. Okay.
If you think of anything, call me.
Well, I'm not sure. It depends what else you want to know. So
I'm
you
not
could
sure
look
what
at
else.
your skills lists, or kind of think of any kind of line of thought that you might
Yeah,
ask about.
I'm
Or
not
line
sure
of inquiry or conversation topics, or
yeah, I'm not sure what to ask
there's not much
her.
else, to be honest.
Yeah, but
But
the Argent, isn't one of my sources an expert on the occult and all that kind of stuff.
yes.
So I do want to go and ask them about Argent Light.
Okay.
I think that's the next thing.
Good.
So
All right. So you leave the Beacon family house.
My theory is that somebody, one of the guys Helen was seeing is mixed up with Argent Light. Maybe Argent Light is some cover for, because there was a reporter who was chasing up some communist red threat thing as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's a link some way, but I don't know. So I want to speak to someone who knows about the occult stuff.
Yeah. So that's Madame Eva.
There's two. There's Madame Eva, and then there's that historian guy, isn't there?
He's more about not occult stuff.
Isn't he about like
But my mirror
history?
won't make them won't. I can't read stuff.
He's like history, archaeology, that kind of stuff, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
All right.
right.
Let's go see the occult expert. What's her name? Madame
Eva. So she has a little. I can't. Anyway, it's not right.
She has a little like traveling circus of.
No. She's just working. I'm none of the.
What does she do?
I
don't know. I'm guessing.
I don't know why the document on the Miro board won't clear up, so I can't read it.
So it's like hanging in this blurred state.
Yeah, blurred. There you go.
Yeah,
it's just blurring.
I couldn't even get into it properly.
I can get the information soon. There you go.
So yeah, that's what I'm currently thinking. She's Helen.
Yeah, so Madame Eva is a fortune teller that you know. She's a bit of a grifter.
Mm-hmm.
She can assist you with information about anything to do with cult, spiritualism, magic, the occult, like that. And let me get some more information about Madame Eva. The sources. There you go. All right, Madame Eva. So yeah, you can head over to her storefront. She's got a palm reading joint on Hollywood Boulevard. So you're not too far. It's just steps away from Musso and Frank Grail and Grauman's Egyptian Theater, really. So it's like she's got an extremely well-placed location for her business. And she's quite, ample figured, robes, silk. So you head over there, knock, and you just have to wait a few minutes in the lobby sort of thing.
Is it busy? Are there people
She seems
wandering,
to
or
be.
is it?
She seems to be. No, it's not super busy, but you wait just a few minutes, and she walks a customer out. And so there are like little crystal balls and gems that are associated. Large. There's some incense burning. There's some a couple of Egyptian style looking statues. There's a cat wandering around, black cat. And Madame Eva, quite ample person. Oh, Dexter Raymond, what do you want? Can I help you with anything? Come in.
Yes, I think you can. So I'm
Walks
working.
into you,
I'm
please.
working a case for the deacons.
The deacons. Who's the deacons?
Oh, they're in real estate. They're a big family. I'm working. Margaret Deacon
All right.
has
Yeah,
asked
that
me.
rings a bell.
It does ring a bell.
I'm
but
not really, this is the high society. I mean, I do have some high society amongst my clients, of course, but and the flimflammery that these guys operate in. So what can I do for you?
well, Helen Deacon, the sister of Margaret Deacon, turned up. She went missing for 2 weeks, and she turned up catatonic, and she'd recently randomly been talking about auras and secret masters and pyramids, and she mentioned something called the Argent Light. What do you know about Argent Light? Can you tell me anything?
Let's see. Argent Light. It's a.
So I'm guessing normally with a fully working computer, you'd have everything at your fingertips able to.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. This is where I haven't really prepared properly, and where the information I haven't prepared. I should be a lot more prepared to know who knows what when.
Okay.
So she's going to tell you something, but okay.
And then I could use one of my skills, or whatever it's called, if I need to.
Sure. No, but your question is usually enough. Yeah, it's an organization, but I'm just trying to get there. Oh. Okay.
It's an organization.
Yeah, I mean, one of those. There's like tons of different sects and cults, and from anything from newborn Christians to Rosicrucians to New Agey, whatever, charlatans, really, if you ask me, all of them, to be honest. But there's this woman called Clara Nebel, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Nebel. And she seems to actually, you know me, Dex, you know that I don't believe in any of this stuff. Well, I believe that most of the occults and most of the spiritual sessions and or cults of the kind and of the ilk that we're talking about around trying to swindle most of the rich and famous of Hollywood are basically just, grifters like me, really. But we also know, or at least I believe, now you don't know this necessarily, that there are some real players around. And I do not want to associate with any of that kind of nasty stuff. It's dangerous and it leads only to bad news, believe me. And she's one of those. So I think she's got some real connection to the spiritual side. I don't know, but I also think that she generally uses it for, fleecing the seekers it attracts usually. But yeah, you can find her in, she's got a chapel it's called the Order of the Argent Light. And I think she's got a chapel around Loma Linda Avenue in Hollywood. So that's it's literally her bungalow that she refitted, and it's kind of like hermetic magic spiritualism of some kind. I'm not sure.
That's really useful. That's really interesting too. Hermetic magic. What's that?
Hermetic magic. Well, it harkens back to the traditions of what is supposed to be, I guess, actual real magic. Hermetic is secret and closed, and so a lot of the spiritual researchers and researchers into the occult in the Middle Ages would refer to great ancient gods and some of the mysterious studies that are, frankly, you don't want to know any more than that about it. I think it's probably very dark, but those are the kinds of people that were at the have you ever heard of I can't remember the names. Anyway, researchers in the occult all the way, from the 12th to all the way to the 18th century. But there was a moment in the 17th and 18th century courts of England and France where this type of conversation was extremely popular. Yeah.
Witches.
Oh, being careful not to be called witches, of course, because otherwise that, leads to Salem and burnings, etc. But maybe, yeah.
Okay, and it's Clarendon Nabel.
Clara.
Just Clara. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she heads that thing. She's got a bunch of people around her. I don't really know much more.
You just know that you think you're wary of her. You seem really almost scared of her.
Scared? I wouldn't go that far. I mean, maybe. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if she connects a little bit. She's a theosophist, but sprinkles with stuff of, touching on the great ancient gods that I probably wouldn't want to go anywhere near. But I don't know. There's some myths about some very dark and ancient powers that supposedly, anyway, you don't believe in any of that stuff, so forget it.
I'm interested why you're so uncertain about saying anything.
Well, there's supposed to be you hear of the names of ancient deities like Yig or Shub-Niggurath that are supposedly intent on plunging mankind into an eternal dark age.
Or Zul.
Perhaps entirely possible, yeah, Zul. But, as I said, this is what's most dangerous with this type of talk, even though I do believe that she does have some connection to it, so it can be quite dangerous. People have been known to disappear around pursuing those kinds of knowledge, if you will. And but I really do think she's just out to make a quick buck, really. I don't really know the details of her.
Isn't everyone in this town?
Oh, of course. Yeah, but I like to think that, I give people a little bit of spiritual solace if they are, and listening to them, if they're upset about the death of their partner, mother, husband, wife, and help them move along into the process of grief.
Well, that customer who left seemed like they were left happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like the nice kind. This woman, Clara, sounds like the not nice kind.
I'm not sure, but from what I hear, I don't know.
Okay. Well, as you know, I'm a curious guy, and we know what happens to curious cats. So
exactly.
Who cares? I want to know now. I want to go and speak to her. And you said I'd find her at her chapel.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think she calls that the Order of the Argent Light, and they meet up there regularly, as far as I know.
Well, thank you.
You're
really helpful. So, obviously, I want to go to see Clara.
All right. Okay, Clara. Neville. Yeah, so you make your way over to, it's probably like noonish. Make your way over to Hollywood around Loma Linda Avenue. There's strings of small kind of bungalows. And one of this bungalow has esoteric symbols in front.
Okay.
You park your car.
Anyone else around? Anything happen? Any activity? Any kind of?
It's just, well, there's cars going back and forth. It's quite residential. So not tons of activities. Obviously, there are people going about their business. It's a nice day. It's quite hot. What time of year did we say it was? I can't remember.
You said around noon.
No, time of year. I can't remember because that was.
Oh, time of year. Oh, I
have
don't
so
know.
many. It doesn't matter.
Wouldn't make any difference, I don't think. It would just be sunny and warm anyway, right? So, okay. And it's obvious which one's hers. There are all these symbols outside the door.
Yeah, and it matches with what Madame Eva described.
Okay. So let's go inside. Let's go and knock on the door, ring the bell, find out what's going on.
So this woman opens the door. Let's see what her description is.
So what I'm getting is, on the one hand, there's a whole subculture of everyone's trying to make money, everyone's trying to get ahead. There's the film business is like the glitzy front of it all, and then underneath there's all sorts of illegal gambling and drinking and people doing their thing. Then a bit like bullshit jobs, you've got the flunkies who are making people feel better, but they don't actually do anything. And you've got the hangers on, you've got the accountants, and you've got the just there's a whole thing going on behind what is the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. And then also a little hint of darkness is what I'm beginning to get now.
Yeah.
And this could be, even though Dexter Raymond is super cynical about anything to do with this by the sound of it, and he's curious. He just wants to know, and is in it for the money and wants to sort out the high rollers who are living the life pretending that everything's fine, like Margaret is, whilst her dad gambles away loads of stuff, loads of money, and Whitey and the mob are doing their thing. The system and the mob are just fighting it out. But if Helen's turned up in a catatonic state, mumbling about what seems to be something pretty dark, there are other forces at play, it would seem. So I'm intrigued to see what Clara's like, or Clara.
Yeah. So do you want to play out that scene?
Yep.
Let me stop.
Yep.
Great. So Clara opens the door, looks really like a very confident woman, wearing a large flowing dark dress with a lot of she's got a lot of symbols and
rings
around her neck, pentacle and an eye within a triangle. She's got rings with all sorts of just swirly abstract symbology going on. They're very silvery. She's got a very silvery look around her. On most of all of her jewelry is all silver. Yes, what can I do for you?
Oh, hi, Clara. My name's Dexter Raymond. I'm a PI working a case. And
interesting.
Yeah.
How may I be? Wait. I can see you have come here seeking answers.
Well, of course, I'm a PI.
Yes, of course you are, Mr. Well, please walk in.
Thank you. Interesting place you got here.
Well, yes, we gather on a regular basis people who are interested in pursuing and finding out truth beyond the veil of traditional reality.
Well, that could be
helpful. The violence and confusion of modern life arises from the action and influences of dark entities. And so our I'm
laughing at you and the way you're delivering it. It's really cool.
This is me, and it would be better if I was prepared.
It works. Sorry, I'm jumping in and out and like enjoying it, but it's really cool. Dark entities.
She looks at you like, and she raises an eyebrow. Do you not believe in?
Honestly, I'm curious. I don't know what to believe. Dark entities? You mean like the mob and the system trying to make money by killing people? Do you mean
no, of course, but how about those people would be what if imagine Mr.
Yes. Raymond.
Mr. Raymond, imagine that those men, and just like most people believe in a traditional Judeo-Christian God, of course, who may well be around, but perhaps a little occupied most of his time. And it is less known that there are some ancient deities that have occupied these holograms for many, many eons before humanity were even in their first forays coming out of who knows where. But those ancient deities who lived in ancient cities, people like Shiv-Nigarat or Nyarlathotep,
And Yig.
they intend to plunge mankind into an eternal dark age, and these have their agents, Mr. Raymond. Agents perhaps like the men that you seek. The men the men that you seek, or the ones that are mentioned at the heart of the darkness, such as managing the hearts and minds of and manipulating a lot of people, corrupting minds, corrupting governments, corrupting the police. Those, Mr. Raymond, are the ones to beware of.
So
we at the Argent Lights try to guide people towards more positive affirmations. So
you're kind of saying that we're just puppets and they're the masters.
No, well, there are certain masters that we can empower with the resources to restore the planet and fight those forces of entropy, banish them to this earth. For this, people must open their awareness to the Argent Light. And this here is my purpose, and the purpose, or my purpose. I am but a conduit. I am but an agent of the forces that want to banish and keep the corruption and the darkness at bay, Mr. Raymond. Would you like to attend to one of our meetings? Perhaps a person such as you that I can see with a strong strength of will would be an asset to this humble organization.
Well, I might, but do you know someone called Helen? Helen Deacon?
Helen, I know many Helens. Oh, Deacon. Wait, actually, there's one thing. Yes, I can see that you are somebody who would not stop and would pursue answers to the end, which is part of your strength, but may well be your downfall, Mr. Raymond.
Well,
and
I noticed you had a black cat.
No, she doesn't have a black cat. The black cat was at Madame Eva's.
Oh, damn. I'm the black cat.
Yes, exactly. Helen Deacon. Yes, Helen Deacon is one of our regular participants and contributors. She has joined the Argent Light maybe a couple of years ago, I'd like to say.
A couple of years? That's a long time.
Yes, she needed solace and a place to...
she sounds like a loyal follower.
Loyal? Wait a minute. I think so, wait. Yeah, she came in with some other silly girls that, are not very serious about this, but Helen surprisingly, she surprised me, to be honest, stuck around. She, is taking it quite seriously.
What kind of commitment does one make to the Argent Light?
Oh, well, it's mostly a spiritual commitment, a gathering of like-minded individuals under the patronage. And as I said, I am but a conduit. I lead these meetings on a regular basis. And some of the participants are, let's say, inspired and drawn to the cause and contribute it, so occasionally in a small material fashion.
They do? Okay. Do you know someone called...
we need to buy the rituals, materials, the implements, and candles, and all these kinds of things. Of course, we unfortunately do live with material bodies, and those have a cost.
They do. Do you know someone called Marshall Daly?
I don't wait. I don't think so. No. No, I mean, she talked about him. Maybe she might have talked about him. I mean, but there were so many different men, so it's difficult to. I don't really know.
Yeah, Helen's that kind of woman.
She was in quite a lot of spiritual distress when she joined Door River.
2 years ago.
Yes, that's about it. Her mother had just passed, poor thing, and her father is quite weak, and but maybe that's why she's always been drawn to older men. Go figure, with the same kind of resolve her father really used to have, and but then it also led her to some questionable types.
Of course,
like
it would.
the person who heads
The system.
this no, the Allegria, but who works for him. What is he called? Mr. Alexander, I believe.
Whitey Alexander, yes. But why do you say her father's weak? He built a business. He's very successful.
Oh, he did, and he used to, but he must have had some other thing happen. I believe he's been spending all his money in the casino.
Yes, that might be true. But to call him weak, that's interesting. Maybe Helen felt that she found something here.
Perhaps. And I tell you this, I saw Helen about a week before she disappeared, and mark my words, a dark cloud just hung over her. I told the girl, and she asked me to read her aura. And at that point, I detected I would call it the spore of ancient kind of gnawing evil, something that had just walked over her unsuspecting. And I beheld a vision of a great lever, once alive, but now stilled. I did offer to conduct a protective rite for her. But of course, I needed her. Well, I needed her to pay for the ritual supplies, and she said she would, and she didn't. And I didn't hear from her again.
Well, it's interesting.
To be honest, I think that I suspect the poor girl's sister has been just tightened the leash, and that's why Helen's not contributed to the order as much as he used to.
Well, if her dad was once great and is now weak and is gambling, then her sister's trying to do the right thing. But I didn't mention.
I did offer another rite that could help, perhaps guide her father in the right direction and into the lights. But
and Helen loved her dad, or loves her dad.
Of course,
she didn't want that. Margaret, I'm not so sure, because I didn't mention that Helen had disappeared. So she did disappear. And then she reappeared. She's catatonic. She's not speaking to anyone. What could do such a thing? You said the dark cloud was hanging over her.
Question.
You said that her aura suggested that other things were manipulating her. Some evil force from darkness. Something was flaying her mind.
I believe so, yes. And there are great workings that could have helped to forestall this type of disaster in a very darkened world. But yeah. But I had heard, I mean, the police, of course, came around to tell me about Helen's disappearance.
Oh, they did?
I didn't. Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Well, of course, just like you, Mr. Raymond. I'm not sure who hired you, Mr. Raymond.
Helen's sister, Margaret.
Did she now? I thought the police had run a quite thorough investigation. So, but in any case, I hold no secrets. Of course, I am an open door, and you can walk in our ritual, our chapel of light anytime you wish. Of course.
And you
Is there anything else you'd like to know?
You didn't know anyone called Marshall Daly?
No, as I said, I mean, I don't believe so. That doesn't ring a bell to me. She was seeing quite a few different men, I believe.
Yeah, she was. Okay.
All
right. Have you had anyone new join your order who struck you as kind of like, who's this person?
Right. New? No, there were a few different women. Wait, I'm checking.
All women?
No, not all women. We do have some men as well. Wow, you seem to be quite interested. So, I mean, I can tell you this. I do know one of the secret masters of Los Angeles, and he does maintain his home right here, to be honest. In fact, actually. And if you see, she points to some of the books on the shelf, and you can see there's a number of them that were written by the same person called William Dudley Pelley. Dudley D-U-D, William Dudley D-U-D-L-E-Y, and Pelley P-E-L-L-E-Y. And he wrote about the near-death experience he had in 1928. He apparently entered in the presence of God and Christ then, was bestowed mystical powers, urgently laid out a plan to combat the dark forces. And I believe, in fact, he believed it was Nodens, he meant, one of the ancient deities of way back when. So, of course, he changed the detail in the public writings to be able to cushion the shock of his revelations, and a lot of people would not believe unless he described it as the Christian God, of course.
People aren't ready to hear this stuff.
Yes, he lives right here in Hollywood. If ever maybe he knows something else.
And he had an experience that was out of this world.
Yes, he has.
And he talks about it. He wrote
Yes.
about it, but he still talks about it. He's still like.
Oh, he does, and maybe he, or perhaps I would say, have you seen Helen, by the way? Because I talked to Margaret, and I also told the police the same thing. She suffered a mystical and spiritual injury. I could help her with the right ritual and implements, I believe.
That's what you really think. You really think that Helen had some kind of spiritual contact that left her traumatized.
Yes, I do believe this.
You don't think it's
do you want to know if she actually, do you want to know if she's lying? What you think?
Yeah, I want to know if she's lying.
Okay, so actually, so detect lie is a. Wait a minute.
Or I want to know if there's more behind what. Yeah, I think I just think she's lying.
Assess honesty. Yeah, let's try. Okay, so go with one die.
One die.
Yeah.
One.
She's not lying. She really believes it. She must be one of those. You believe her so far.
Okay.
She seems to really know what she's talking about, and she's impressed. She's impressed, but I mean, she seems pretty impressive.
Okay. How? I haven't spoken to Helen. I don't think I have.
No, you haven't.
So it sounds like speaking to Helen and finding out how she is right now, because if someone has a near-death experience like that, I've seen it enough times. I've seen when people have been threatened with guns and had seen people killed, and they respond in the same way. What makes this different is what intrigues me. It's what I don't know. This seems to there's more going on here.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. I want to know.
Good.
But thank you for your help.
Yes, as I said, I can heal her. You should insist to her sister to let her see you. To let her
see you.
See me, but you to begin with. You're the professional, and you'd be able to assess her. I'd like to see her. Her sister's very close-minded. She has a dark force of stubbornness around her. I mean, stubbornness is a bit of a strong word. Sorry, but between us. But yes, you should see her, and you will see that. I can see that you have the eye, perhaps, Mr. Raymond, and you would see that she has a very spiritual injury that cannot be healed by traditional medicine.
What do you think about Margaret? Apart from she's a controlling, money holding.
She must be.
There's no dark cloud over Margaret.
I have not really talked to her long enough, but if you brought her here, I'm sure I'll be able to get a very good grasp on her spiritual disorientation.
Okay. Well, you've been really helpful. Thank you very much. And
thank you.
somewhat interesting.
Mhm.
My curiosity has been stimulated.
Yes, I can see that. But be careful.
Why?
Well, those kind of impulses and can lead you to dark corners, but to danger. I can see you pushing it once too far, and at once your luck won't hold you, or the forces of good that are behind you won't always prevail. Be careful, Mr. Raymond. You are dealing with a quite difficult and nebulous case here. I can see.
Well, thank you. Okay, so now I got two things I'm thinking about now.
Uh-huh.
This guy William Dudley Pelly, he had his whole thing in. What year are we in?
1937.
Okay, 1937. So like almost 10 years ago, he had some weird experience that he wrote about, and he's still around this area and probably making money off it. Is he old?
Don't know.
We don't know. Okay, so I'm
A
thinking
little bit older than most, but you don't know.
Yeah. So he's someone that I'd like to speak to, but there's a historian guy that I know is one of my contacts as well.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know if he knows anything about him. That's one thing. Then the other
Okay.
thing is actually going and speaking to Helen and finding out what the deal is with her, and seeing if she's still chatting rubbish, because is Margaret keeping her at home? I can't remember. Or she's staying at home, or she just I can't remember where she was.
You haven't asked.
That's true. Where's Helen? I have to go and ask Margaret where she is. And
what other threads have you got?
Do
you have other threads? Don't forget.
Then I think there's something about the money, and Margaret's trying to hold it together and sort out her dad and sort out the business and sort out her sister, but do it quietly without letting things get out that her family isn't as strong as it was. And any kind of instability or any, at the same time, the system and the mob, they're going to take advantage of any kind of sensationalist news story that is happening with big families in Hollywood. And then there was this other thing about the reporter searching for a big story about the communist threat and some other deal that's going on. Now, if the newspaper,
then there's more. Wait, there's other things.
Is there? Really?
Yeah, there's another thread that you let go. You forgot, or you might have forgot because you haven't mentioned it. There's a character you walk past. You crossed at the casino.
The accountant.
Yes.
But he's going to know about the money situation. He looked worried at Whitey's.
Yes. And then there's another thread.
Oh, really?
Well, you would imagine that there are not that many, but there's certainly other things you haven't mentioned yet. The explosion and the people you tailed.
The A.M. Hillier thing.
Yes, that's another thing going on.
Well, that's the whole mob versus the system that I think is happening with A.M. Hillier. So I think that's happening in the background, and that I think that's the big power thing that's happening in the background that somehow Helen's mixed up in because the guys love her, but I don't know what. And all this spiritual stuff is just I don't know, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And one thing you did learn today on just bringing it together, I'm helping you just grow those threads. It's just a little thing, but still, it's that the dad has gambling debts.
Yep.
Whitey Alexander is enamored with Helen.
Yep.
And nobody's asked for those gambling debts to be paid.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
Well, and Clara Nibble said that she likes older men. I mean, I think I said that.
That Helen likes older men.
Yeah, that she's like with Whitey Alexander.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, that's cool. The plot is just getting so thick. Something's going to emerge from this. or something's going to go pop at some point. I think, like it does in the film.
But it's
I
going to
can't
happen.
help.
It's going to happen soon. You got you have pretty much everything going on. Almost. But there's a lot of course, there's a big sleep. So there's a lot of different things going on.
Well, yeah. And honestly, I feel like I keep replaying scenes in Big Sleep in my head.
Yeah.
It's really
inspired by that. So
informed the whole thing. Really cool. Really cool.
It's fun. You're enjoying it. It's good.
Oh yeah, I like how it all blurs together, and I can't quite figure it out. I feel like I'm in it. I do like it.
Cool. And a word on bullshit jobs before we go.
A word on what?
Bullshit jobs, because you're enjoying it apparently.
Oh my god! I was reading bits of it to Davina, and she was like, "Wow."
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
It's very accessible, very well written, and
very well written. I really like how he writes.
And I was talking to.
It's one of the books I told you. I read every single note. The notes are entertaining as well. There's got background stuff, and don't you find?
I haven't really. No, I didn't really look at the notes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe because I'm reading it on a Kindle rather than a hard copy.
Oh, that might be why.
So but it's and
it depends how the notes are made, because if they're made in such a way that you can click the note and it pops up, it's easy. But that if it's not coded like that, then it's
sometimes I'll click the note in a book and it will take me to the note, and then going back to where I was.
Yeah, that's very
irritating.
Clunky.
So
it's still the reason why it's very much the reason why I still prefer reading fiction books on my Kindle and non-fiction in paper.
Well, that's
particularly if I'm going to go back and forth between ideas and references.
Yeah, because your brain goes in 4 directions all at once, which is just how it is. It's a superpower and a.
Oh, I found out my brand new clients work with strength finders. They work with a coach and they know all their strengths. They did that last year. Oh, cool. And so I told them, in addition to everything else that I was and that I have that they were looking for. So there's this new thing. So it's looking like the workshops that we'll be doing in September. We'll see about integrating some learnings and stuff from that.
Nice.
Will be good. Should be good.
That would be really cool. Cool. Yeah. So bullshit jobs. Can't say enough good things about it, and I almost don't want it to end as I go through it. I'm just.
Where are you at?
Exploring. I reread all the stuff about Eric I read Eric to Davina, and I read the guy at the beginning in the German whatever to her as well. She was like, "Oh my god!"
I can't remember who Eric is now.
Eric is the guy who first in his family to go to uni and then worked at a design agency, coming up with this stupid computer system, and then escalated the amount of nonsense he was doing, and they paid him more every time he would do something stupid just to keep him there. Yeah, and then I'm at the part about spiritual violence, about like the really rhythms of work. The rhythms of work traditionally as peasants, like work really hard, stop. Work really hard, stop. That's how we go as humans.
Yeah, which is now no longer acceptable. You have to be there at 9. You have to pretend you have work, whether you do or don't. In most cases, unless you're lucky, that does happen. He talks about that as well. There are some places that are not like that, but
the idea of paying someone for their time, like you own their time,
that's so good.
Is basically slavery.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and that comes up in The Shallows until the invention of time.
Yeah.
And which is a completely, it's a hypothetical construct that human beings just did whatever they did according to the seasons and food and light and all of that. But once clocks and time started, then everything changed. Our brains changed. He makes that case in The Shallows that our brains altered. Our brains have been altered by the internet and stuff like that. So I'm seeing all these threads coming together as usual, which is what I do. But honestly, it's such a great book.
How are you enjoying your holidays? Are you actually on holidays now, or do you have a lot of still work to do and stuff?
Well, I do actually have quite a bit of work to do because there's upheaval at school with staff leaving and changing and people going part-time, which means I have to teach economics. I haven't taught economics for a few years, which means I've got a textbook and a ton of lesson planning to do.
I have some lesson planning to do next month. I can't believe we're already at the end of July.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
I thought that this summer I'll be able to take time and think about what I'm doing with my podcast and my website. And like, I'm super busy with this new client and a bunch of other stuff going on. And I have to spend the whole week on it. And anyway, and I see the clock ticking going, and I'm like, and I have August is planned for some holidays with activities and things where I'm like, this is going to go so fast. I might have a little bit of time, but not. I'm missing a lot of journal entries. And I'm looking at the writing plan and everything. I'm not writing. I'm not doing anything.
Oh,
And
this
this
is
week,
what.
celebrating my birthday on a Tuesday was made the whole week into a funny rhythm because I spent most of the day. I tried to get work out of the way quickly, and which I did, and then was working but preparing for my birthday picnic, which was of course overkill. But I had a lot of people. It was a fantastic party.
Right.
I prepared a lot of food, and then Wednesday recovering because we ended really late, and cleaning. I spent a
Yeah.
lot of half the day cleaning up and recovering, and then I worked a little bit in the afternoon. But it makes it that it was a funny rhythm. From then, I was tired the rest of the week, actually.
Yeah. Totally. And just, keep remembering you'll always be younger than me.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Cool. Right.
Cool.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Very good talking.
Yeah, as always, and I'm sure I'll send you some invites for the next sessions.
Great. I can do next week.
I think I can. I'll need to check.
Yeah, Sunday certainly.